tried, and I've tried even more. I've cried, and I can't recall what for. I pressed, I pushed, I've yelled, I begged in hopes of some success. But the inevitable fact is that it never will impress. I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have runneth dry. I've tried to go fuck shopping, but there's no fucks left to buy. I've no more fucks to give, though more fucks I've tried to get. I'm over my fuck budget and I'm now in fucking debt. I strive to get everything.
That is one hell of an entrance theme.
Yeah. I don't think it could be any more fitting for this team. So, welcome in. This is Baseball with Babs. I'm Rich. That is Babs, and we are back again. We're back to a different new schedule for the busy time of the year. So, was hoping to get this fella on to the football show after this show, but he is unable to because of, I don't know, something stupid probably. It's fine. But yeah, very interesting week in Pirates baseball. As you heard with the intro, we've no more fucks to give is kind of where we're at. Whenever you were younger and a parent was like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And that was like the worst thing you could hear. I think that's where a lot of folks are at now. And I think that's why taking the L's that we're taking in the manner that we're taking them, it just stings. It's
this sounds really bad. A nice way I like to compare being a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Pittsburgh Pirates in general is, a family member who is an addict of some sort. And what I mean by that is, you want to believe, you want to think that things are turning around. You get real excited because you get a nice little consistent, couple months of, improvements. And then the same thing just happens every single time. Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's funny. The song is No Fucks Left to Give. I feel like that's what Derek Shelton is after his burst this week. So we'll discuss that later on in the show. Not angry. Disappointed is definitely a good word. But overall, the feeling in general is every time there's some hope, and that's where we're at, right?
Yeah. I personally stopped being mad at the losses probably a month ago. I'm just at the point where I'm just like, okay. All right.
It's draft lottery season again. I see people posting the draft lottery odds, which to my understanding, they are eligible this year because they picked like 9th. So they are eligible for a top 5 pick again. I could be wrong, but so it's draft lottery season. We'll start to see the tanking gifts being sent out here shortly. It's going to be interesting because I don't see Shelton. I mean, he's playing for his job at this point if he still has one, which I'm not sure if he does. And
that lineup he put out tonight. Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna be interesting. Are they gonna bring the young guys up and play? Or are they gonna we're gonna see because you have a bunch of people playing for their jobs right now. Probably players doing the same thing, but at the same time, right? Future next year, etc. So
right. Well, before we get into it here, like I mentioned, Saturdays are the double show. So 9:30 following this show is going to be footballed. And like I mentioned in previous episodes, we're going to get Taylor on when he can. Obviously, he has younger kids, so it's a little bit more difficult for him. So don't give him a hurdle. A hurdle? A hassle. I was gonna say a hard time, and then I was like a hassle, and I said a hurdle. So don't give him a hurdle. It's harder for those that out there that have the younger ones. You can't just kind of drop everything like me and Jermaine can, where kids are almost dead. So, Patreon season is in full swing. Still looking to get some more folks on there. Get some questions in there. Get that. I know we've been peddling that for a little bit, but I don't think you guys understand the power that you guys will have with that. Being able just to ask us whatever you want and contributing the equivalent of a coffee. Like let's be honest, it's $5. I mean, you could probably go to Starbucks and get
a grande
$5. So is that correct there, Mama? What can you get at Starbucks for $5? Or what can you get at Starbucks for below $5? Glass of water, maybe?
Americano, straight.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't drink coffee. So yeah, apparently plain coffee. Yes. So there you go.
That's what I drink. That's how I know.
Yeah. There you go. So any contributions? I don't know why I elongated that word. Go right back into the show. Help cover costs of the show. StreamYard just went up. The platform that I used to record went up by 20. So, there's that. But mostly, I really just want the folks that listen to be a part of it and get to know us. So, yeah, that's about all the plugs I got there. So I guess we can kind of jump into the show here if you want.
Yeah. So as Rich mentioned, I do plan on being on the football show. I'm having one hell of a terrible start to fantasy football season. I'll leave it at I have Mark Andrews and I'm facing Saquon Barkley, so the week's over already.
Nice.
Awful, but yeah, I'll be jumping on that from time to time. Once Pirate season's end, I'll definitely be on it weekly because I'll be able to do one Pirate show and a football show for sure. So plan on being on that. But Pirates, let's get into that. The last time we met, the last time we had a show, we had the man Northside Notch, Jim Rosati on. Really great episode. If you guys get the chance, definitely check that out. Really good ball talk. Jim definitely took the crown as most handsome man in the show. Unfortunately, I'm in second place now.
Also was the grayest. So
yes. So,
but overall, super late. But I feel like
I'm starting a little bit.
Probably. Are you?
Yeah, probably my job, or because my hair is overgrowing. Getting it cut next weekend. So, but jumping into it, since we last had a show, there's been quite a few events that occurred. So we'll jump into the Cubs series.
Yep.
Game 1, they actually won. It was actually we were actually recording with Jim whenever the game went on.
Yeah, we were
down 3-0 late into the game. Brian Reynolds clutched 3-run home run. Your man Andrew McCutchen hit a home run. I think Gonzalez singled one more in at the end, if I'm correct. Yeah. Santana locked it down. So that's the interesting part that I kind of want to talk about first.
So he is referred to as old throat tattoo.
Oh, that's right, as Rich says, throat tattoo.
Old throat tattoo. Yes.
Is it ol as an OL? Are we doing
OLE?
Okay, so old throat tattoo. Dennis Santana, I wonder how painful that was getting that. But
I don't know. I know there's not a lot. It is a relatively I would say it's probably probably the same as getting like right here done.
So not pleasant.
Yeah, because that's all awful. Very awful.
We know he's tough. We know he has resilience.
Yeah.
It has been really good since he's come aboard with the Pirates. And again, I was one of the people that was like, his career ERA is 6. Like, what are they doing? And it was one of those.
But I think we kept forgetting he's pitching in the NL, or I'm sorry, the AL East. I mean, that sucks. Right? That sucks. Why would you want to do that?
That's he's ARB 1 this year. He has arbitration 2 next year, 3 the year after. So he has 2 more years of control after this. So in other
Good.
words, there's a good chance he'll be back next year,
Yeah.
barring them.
But real cheap too. He's not gonna garner a ton. Like he's not gonna get league minimum, but I would assume we can probably put like a mil, 1-2 at him, and he'd be happy. Get more tattoos.
I mean, from someone who was getting waived 2 months ago to getting signed on with a team for sure. I mean, that's
be happy to have a jersey with a a number that's not 84.
Right. Pretty good turnaround.
Yeah.
And we already saw it with him closing that game. I've seen a few people, Santana for closer, etc. So that's my first question.
At all.
Are you buying the Dennis Santana hype in general? Do you think he could be a late inning arm for this team next year, especially? What are your
thoughts? Put him in the bullpen. Let him be a floater. Let him get in where you fit in, kind of thing. Does he have closer type stuff? Yeah, but I'm not gonna feel any better about him than I do with Fat Ass. Like, I'm not at all comfortable or excited with that. I mean, if it's one of those things where our regular closer has pitched 2 days in a row and they need someone else to chuck in there, I wouldn't hate that, but I also wouldn't hate Nicholas. I wouldn't hate Chappie, so yeah, like you throw hard and you seem to have gotten your control issues under wraps. So cool.
I think he's a fine middle relief arm, and that's where I want to kind of keep him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the reality here is I believe the 7, 8, 9 next year is going to be, a Nicholas Modlinski in the 7th, Holderman in the 8th. In the 9, they're going to give Bednar another shot, I'm sure, right? That being said, it does not hurt to have the Santana types in the middle relief. It does not hurt to have the Nicholases. They're going to have to add another arm or 2 in the bullpen for sure. But I don't think he's going to be a closer. I don't think he's going to even be late inning when it comes down to it, especially next year. But I think they're going to go back to their guys more than anything. I would love to see them sign someone high leverage. I would even be open to bringing back Chapman so that Holderman's more of a 7th inning guy.
I mean, absolutely. And don't forget, though, I mean, what are we going to do with Oviedo? And then Moretta is coming back.
Right.
So we have a weird, good problem to have where we can replace the cancers in the bullpen. Get rid of them. Cut them out. Cut out the tumor. Because we have better options, but we, for whatever reason, it only took 12 blown saves to finally think, hey, maybe we shouldn't have Chubbs in there.
Chubbs,
trying to throw a strike challenge with Bednar, and you saw even in game 1, not even a high leverage situation, down by 2? No, down by 3, I believe, at that point, right? 2 or 3, regardless. You're down.
Yeah.
You're down. And we were down. Then he caused us to be down by 3. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what other proof they need. I don't know whose dick pics he has on the team, but he has something to keep him there. I don't know. I'm so sick of talking about this fucking guy.
We're gonna leave it at the fastball command. Still not good. He pitched today too, and it was brutal. Just not locating the fastball at all. My assumption is they're gonna hope that that's an off year. He comes back with a full year of prep and he gets his fastball command back. But that's where I want them to sign a reliever that's high leverage because you need insurance on him. Because I think there's a very real, it's probably more likely than not at this point that he's going to.
He's cooked.
So I don't know if I say cooked per se. It's just what they're going to expect of him and how they're going to construct this team next year in the bullpen with him at the end of it is more the issue. I'd be okay with him being on the team.
As a closer, as a end of the bullpen guy, your ERA is 6 and it's September. Fuck off. Like
Brutal.
You don't have the luxury of having a down year as a closer.
An entire year too.
Right.
It's not even
Like
a
you
couple
don't
months.
have that luxury. You know what happens with that? You're not a closer anymore.
Right.
You don't get a shot again. I mean, you may get a shot again, but you don't get thrust right into that role in the beginning of the year. The next year. Like that shouldn't be what happens, but I would bet a lot of money that's exactly what's going to happen.
You'll get your Renegade theme song, and you'll get your new Renegade food item, and you'll like it, Rich.
Awesome.
They'll of course bump the price up on it a couple dollars as well, so don't forget about that
Yeah.
part.
You see, Fat Ass has his own little Burgatory milkshake now for the cancer.
What?
kids.
A Renegade milkshake?
Yeah, it's a Burgatory. It's basically just diabetes in a big glass.
Is there pierogies and pickles and roast beef in it?
I don't know. I think there's like an icy light, some peanut butter, some
Ugh.
pork rinds, some. I don't know.
I thought you were being serious for a second.
No, I'm dead serious. There is something. He does have one. I don't know what. It's like caramel and peanut butter pretzels and just a bunch of stuff that's going to give you heart palpitations.
Moving on to game 2.
Yeah.
They won that game too, which is nice. Skeens pitched well for the most part. Bullpen looked really good. Holderman pitched well. Modlinski, our man Jared Triolo hit a home run. Staying on the topic of the bullpen,
Yeah.
2 other closers. I mean, Holderman and Modlinski, they've kind of struggled a little bit. They have pitched well recently. Are you worried about either of them next year? I know you're a Malad fan. Are you worried about either of them next year? If so, why? If not, why not? What are your thoughts on those 2 gentlemen?
Carmen Sandiego, he's a viable arm. Little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde occasionally, but you tell me someone that's in the bullpen that's on the front end of the bullpen that isn't that person. So it's kind of why they're in the bullpen and not starting or closing. So
Right.
there's that.
He was drafted as a starter too. I remember that.
Yeah. Holderman, I don't know, man. I think he looked really good all year until he got hurt, which everyone didn't think he got hurt. And then I called my shot and I was like, dude, his slider is all messed up. It is not a slider. It's like a scurve kind of thing. And, a few days later, it's like, oh, my wrist is messed up. It's like, what do you usually use to throw a slider? oh, is it your wrist? Oh, and then there you go. We got him for a lunchbox. We really did. And that's actually that's what I used to call, Vogie was lunchbox. So you're kind of playing with house money with him. You can play him as he goes, see how it goes, see how it rolls. And I'm fine with that. I don't know if no, actually, no. Like he proved himself plenty more than he struggled. So I'd be fine, penning him in for the 8th inning guy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm sure you saw he gave up like a run or 2 in his rehab assignment in AAA, and people were ready to non-tender and DFA and all of that.
Yeah,
a few people that were like, "Oh, AAA rehab," and I'll be honest, I love Modlinski. I like the fact that he can come in, go multiple innings efficiently. I'm a little bit concerned about the health. He's been injured quite a bit, shoulder issues, stuff like that, but nothing that has – I know he had an elbow issue at the beginning of the year too, so health is definitely a little bit of a concern to me at times, but I think he could be a huge part of the team next year. I love that he can go multiple innings, and it's not like Shelton forces him to go 2 and then he gets blown up, right? Like he can go multiple innings more often than not.
He's kind of like a long man, except he has like middle of the bullpen type of stuff. It's weird. He's like a hybrid kind of guy.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
There's value in that, especially like when you mentioned you get those other guys back next year and you add them to him. And, I agree on Holderman too. Holderman, aside from like, a couple weeks, was excellent this year. That's what
and Jim said it. And I was like, yeah, you should have been an all-star. I'm like, dude, yes. That's what I was thinking.
Well, that's the thing. Like a couple weeks regression, maybe a month or two for a reliever midseason. That kind of stuff happens, right? But like not
Right.
5 consecutive months like IC Light has had happen, right? So
Yeah, he was solid all the first half of the year, and then all of his struggles came right kind of in like a month's time, and then injury. So
right.
I know it seems like a crutch, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that it was his injury.
Well,
I think
makes
he's
you
a solid. I think he's a solid pitcher. He has a really good slider, really hard fastball, good movement on it, and he isn't really going to trick you. And still, they're like, "Oh, oops, I swung through that." His problem was he was throwing cement mixer sliders out there that weren't breaking out of the zone, and they were just like, "Well, you basically threw me a, what would you call it? I guess 3 to 8 curveball kind of looking deal, like smack dab in the middle." So that's batting practice, bub.
Yeah, and not to throw the assumption, but it makes you wonder if they knew he was pitching through that, and he was kind of pitching through something for a while.
Who, us? No, we're a very stand-up organization with great. I can't be snarky anymore. Fuck this team. Next comment.
My next talking point, and this one might elicit a reaction out of you. There is a growing presence online that think that Jared Triolo could be a starting third baseman, shortstop, second baseman next year. I've seen people speculate that they don't need to add a shortstop of any kind because he can play shortstop full time. So my question for you is his recent little hot streak he's had the last month or so. Are you buying Jared Triolo as a starter next year?
Fuck no. No. No, just God, no. What has he shown you?
I just don't get it.
Is he batting over 210 yet?
I think he's nearing it now.
Wow. Soup's impressive. Especially when you don't play all the time. So like your average is going to definitely take some big upswings when you make some contact and you get some knocks. You're still not batting 210. Oh, God bless. Yeah.
It's
people that haven't watched more than 50 games of baseball, a season should not be allowed to speculate or comment or give their takes because they're usually completely off base.
It kind of goes back to the whole have to be on one side no matter what kind of thing, right? Like again, we've talked about this a lot. There's one side that has to always be negative. There's one side that always has to be positive, right? And this is definitely coming from the positive side where everything they do cannot be wrong. Right. They already have everyone they need. They don't need to spend. It's almost like these people like preemptively like, oh, I'm going to look like a genius when they don't spend money because they're going to give their job. Like you just blindly guessing about what the team's been doing for 10 years does not make you look like a genius, right?
Right.
And I agree with you. I wouldn't hate the guy as like a super utility where he plays once or twice a week. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I could probably stomach that. But if you're going
Sunday
into
lineup guy, that's what he is. He's a Sunday lineup guy.
If you're going to the next year and he's a starting player on your team, then you're not serious, in my opinion.
Yeah, if he's starting next year, you fucked up like 4 times on that route. Like, because you have plenty of time. You have plenty of chances to not have that be a thing.
Right.
I
mean, we talked about this a lot. Like, looking at the team next year, like, I don't like, Hayes. We already know Hayes is going to get as much chance as possible. I know you don't like that. Short's going to be IKF. You know, I've talked about this a lot, that like IKF hasn't been really hitting recently. And I truly believe that he's better in a more of a limited role where he's moving around the diamond. He's not playing every single day, 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? Like he's the utility guy who fills in for everyone, plays 3 to 4 times a week. I think that's where he can really make the most impact in terms of his bat.
Yeah, I've kind of soured on him a little bit. I'm just kind of like, oh, dude, you kind of suck a little bit. You're not really that great.
Like, if the solution is to get him to that role is you play Triolo every single day, then I don't like they're going to have to, if they want to do something like that, they're going to have to add in some capacity.
Yeah.
They cannot seriously try to say that this guy is going to start. Because again, we saw this last year where he was super hot in September. People were like, oh, and apparently that earned him an entire year of playing time. Right. So we've seen this before from Triolo, where he has a month or two where he's hot and then he craters, especially when it comes to the power department. The slugging just is horrendously
It
bad.
was crazy because dude is yoked. Have you ever actually looked at him in the box? Dude is yoked.
He's a big dude.
And I'm like, you are really, really into ground balls. Like you are like it. Oh God, is like I see him. I'm like, is Hayes playing whiteface? What's happening here? Because it really is, taller, more muscular, less facial hair Hayes. Like that's what we have. That's what it is.
Hey, maybe they'll throw Haynes into the Allegheny, and then someone will teach him launch angle and all that. Maybe he'll,
Dude, I don't know. But no, please God, let this guy just be maybe on the bench. Or send him to AAA. I don't give a shit. Like I really don't care. Like he just does not do anything for me.
Not every single day.
No, like not at all. And you would think he would get better with more reps, but he's just getting more exposed. It's just, and it's funny because you hear the broadcast. It's like, oh yeah, he has a good eye, and I'm like,
He chases a lot of pitches.
One's not crooked. Like, is that why he has a good? Like, I don't know what are you when? This dude is always swinging out of the zone. Always.
Like I said, I can see bench, but again, if you're good, if I walk into PNC Park next year, the home opener, and this guy is starting a baseball game, then it's clear that they're not. That's where I'm at. Like
unless it's a Sunday, man.
Well,
like I'll take it. Be the Sunday guy. You go 1 for 4. I'm cool with that. If that could be what you do, I'm perfectly cool with that.
One sour topic to another.
Yep.
Game 3 of of the Cubs series, otherwise known as the no-hitter. Really, really great time. A lot of things went down there, mostly the Cubs just destroying them. There were a few things that occurred. Rowdy pitched again. A lot of the starters got pulled in the 7th inning. So I guess my first question is just, what are your general thoughts on the no-hitter game, my friend? And then I'll ask you about the other thing that happened afterwards.
So, look, you're going to get no hits sometimes. It happens. It's a very rare thing. But, it's not like you were facing, what's his name that pitched today? Kurtz or Kuntz or Coots? I don't know what the fuck his name was.
I think it's Hurts.
Kurtz, Kuntz, whatever. Fine. Hurts. It's not like you played him and you're getting no hit. Oh, wait.
Famous.
Interesting. But fine. It is what it is. But then for you to give up, was it 12 or 11?
They ended up losing like 12-0, 11-0, 12-0. It was close.
It was close.
Yeah.
That's fucking embarrassing. That is pathetic. It's pathetic. That's what it is. It's pathetic. Someone should have been fired that night for that. Like,
we might have won the series against the Cubs, but they have like really taken them to the woodshed a couple of times now this year, the Cubs.
Yeah.
There was a game where they beat the Pirates 18-8, I think I saw. Like, I agree. It's just yet another.
Oh, yeah, that was the infamous that was the Bears versus Steelers game. Yep.
Like,
yeah, it's you cannot get no hit and then give up 12 runs, and I think it was like 17 hits.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on.
And this is happening a lot where they just get blown away. There's some games, don't get me wrong, there's games where they fight, there's games where they come back, but there's other games where they just get blown away and it's not even remotely close. It seems like the team's dead. Yep. Right. And I agree. It's embarrassing. It's yet another chapter in a long list of chapters of, you have to turn the game off, act like it didn't happen. Right. And
did you hear Greg Brown today discrediting the no-hitter because it was a combined no-hitter? Shut the fuck up, Greg.
Pirates couldn't hit any of the bullpen guys, Greg. Like, come on. Like,
But he was like, it's not that big of a. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Just stop shilling this pirate stuff. Stop it.
It makes it worse for me. They couldn't even. It wasn't like they were throwing out their top relievers either.
Right.
So
right. I just thought it was such a disingenuous, dumb thing for him to kind of tout off on. Like, dude, stop it.
Some people got to carry the water, man. That's what it is. He's probably getting direction to say those things, just like.
Yeah, but then you got Neil Walker, like, just basically talking with his mouth full over there too. It's like, dude, you stop it. Jesus Christ.
Just like the people realistically trying to say Trillo should start next year. It's people carrying water and trying.
Yeah, well, their mouths are full too. There, that's fine.
Of course.
Go ahead.
The more eventful thing that happened afterwards. Mm-hmm. Noah Hiles asked Derek Shelton about Rowdy pitching in the game, and we saw Derek Shelton have his mini meltdown. I know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this in general? I mean, I know your thoughts on Noah asking the question, but I'd love to hear about how you feel about Shelton's reaction in general as well.
Well, first of all, let me put this out here. Noah, you're a fucking idiot. Fully, absolute tool shed. So I found nothing wrong with what he said. Shelton, he was like, why the fuck would I put out why would I put out another arm? And I mentioned this to somebody, and they're like, well, you have these other arms here, you have to get them, exposure. You fucking dumb? Are you dumb? You're going into another series. There's another game tomorrow. And actually, there was going to be a game tomorrow, but whatever. Why would you want to burn an arm when you don't know? I mean, look, nobody here thinks this team's going anywhere this year. This team's dead in the water. But you're also going to play the game as you would normally play the game. You're not going to start, Bednar as an opener. You know what I mean? That's not what you're doing. There's no reason to use an arm when you're down that much. That's exactly the situation that this stuff comes into play. This is when you do it. If he did that in the fourth inning, it'd be like, dude, what are you doing? That seems a little weird. He did it as late as he could. Because you don't want to give out that impression to the team that you're giving up on him either. And I appreciate that. Even though some of his decision-making contradicts that, this was not one of those things. So, once again, Noah, you're a fucking idiot. Don't ask stupid questions.
I think you knew what he was doing when he was asking that question.
Of course.
He was trying to get that. Again, I think they pay attention to the X/the Twitter a lot more than they let on, right? Which is now. I think the players are on there too, to a degree.
Yeah. They probably got burners, man. And absolutely.
He knows that the people are pissed off. He knows that Shelton's probably out the door, right? So, and again, I get the narrative. Like, it's embarrassing that we have to use Rowdy 3 times and whatever. But I agree with you. I would rather see him use Rowdy there than burn a bullpen.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where, he's damned if he does, if he damned if he doesn't. Because if he does use a bullpen arm, why are you using an arm when you're down that much? If he doesn't, that it uses Rowdy, people still complain, right? So I am not Shelton's biggest defender whatsoever. In fact, I would love to see him in the unemployment line already. That's where I am at with him. But I don't see any issue with what he did. I agree with you with the question being asked. It wasn't really.
It's just one of those things where show me you don't know ball without telling me. Like that's kind of that. That's how that felt to me. And if you were just trying to bait him, then don't be a pussy. Why don't you just say it? Ask him. Like, say what you actually want to say instead of baiting him like you're doing this passive aggressive, teenage girl thing. What are you doing?
Well, for me, what pisses me off is like there's people in the responses like, "Thank you for asking the tough question."
Oh my God, I saw that so much. I'm
like, that's not a tough question. That's not pushing anyone. You're literally asking about a position player pitching. It's an obvious answer.
Right.
Like, he's like, good job holding them accountable. I saw multiple people saying that. And I'm like,
it was ridiculous. And somebody was like,
accountable.
Rowdy's pitched more in the last week and a half than like Baczynski. And I'm like, well, that's not really indicative of it's not that he wants to do that. If we would stop getting blown out, Like, that would be cool.
Well, for me, it's like, where was this shit when the games actually mattered? You know what I mean? Like, how about you ask, putting people accountable and asking the tough questions? That should have been happening when they were actually making boneheaded decisions when the games mattered, right? Like, and that's my problem.
And this, ironically, wasn't a boneheaded decision, which is
right.
the funniest thing of all, because we're like, oh, you're just shut the fuck up, Noah.
You know the guys on the way out, so you did what you did because you thought.
And did you see what he posted a few days after that, or the next day?
Yes, I saw.
Like, I commented something. I probably called his mother cunt or something. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm surprised you're not blocked. I'm surprised you didn't get the Blizz treatment.
Yeah, he didn't. He seems like it. So, yeah, I just was kind of very like, dude, like, snarky is not the way to go here. And if nobody knows what we're talking about, he posted this little, like, well, I think it's finally time to address the elephant in the room, and he like showed he showed his seat. This is where I'm going to sit in the press box. I'm like, fuck off, guy. Again. I was just like, dude, this is not a snarky thing. Just own that you asked a stupid question and you got ate up in the comments. Like, that's what happened. Deal with your life. And I've seen a picture of this guy. He just looks like he couldn't beat his dick at this point, let alone anybody else up. So I'm just kind of like, please stop it, man. I hate that stuff so much. It's own your stuff, man.
For me, it's just frustrating because, like, the only reason why it was asked is because he knows he's not going to have to deal with it much longer in the future, right? Like, that's where I'm coming from. Is like, that was asked at that time for a reason. And again, back to, where were these questions 2 months ago? Or a year ago, or 2 years?
Cowardice, man, cowardice. He didn't want to actually ask that question. He didn't have the stones to go in there and ask that.
That's the one thing I'll give DK is, like, DK will be the one who will actually ask those questions, right? And
he actually refollowed me. I guess
DK.
And he stopped and he refollowed me again. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah, he that's the thing I love about him is he will ask those questions. They'll be legitimate questions. He'll actually put some pressure on them. That's why I like the guy a lot.
He's a respected guy. Like, who the fuck is this Noah guy?
And I know he's had his past, and I know people make mistakes, right? But, like, that's what I like about him. But, like, what that guy did there was, I know this guy's on his way out. I know that people are going to agree with me if I gang up on him, so I'm going to do this. That being said, Shelton definitely reacted the way he did because he knows he's on the way out. That is my reaction to it.
He had a fucking moment.
Right. He was talking like a gentleman who knew that in 30 days he will be on the unemployment line. He'll be signing applications to be the Tampa Bay Rays AAA hitting coach, right? And that's probably a little bit rich, right?
Yeah, don't send him there. Good Lord, they have a great team going.
He'll turn into the ultimate coach. So,
oh god.
But I agree with you. I had more issue with the question itself, as much as I don't like Shelton, because, again, Shelton's reacting the way he did because I think he knows he's gone. Also, the question was just.
Yeah, I honestly think even if he wasn't on his way out, he would have been like, dude, shut the fuck up.
That's pretty much what he did.
Like, because it's kind of like, have you ever coached? Oh, no, you haven't? Okay, sit your dumb ass in the press box. I'm going to go ahead and do this coaching thing. I may not be great at it, but I'm pretty sure my team appreciates the fact that I didn't burn an arm with the idea that I may need them for the Nats series or whatever. I put Rowdy out there because I'm pretty sure he can pitch or play tomorrow. I don't think he's going to blow his arm out with his Ephus pitch. So, you know. Oh, god damn it. Go to the next thing before I break something.
Rich Shelton with the
yeah, right. Seriously, my god.
National Series. So Game 1, Falter pitched okay. Gonzo had 3 RBIs, which was cool. They tried getting Joey Wentz some work. He was horrendous. It went exactly how we expected it would. Chappie locked it down. Right.
Yep.
Again,
I didn't watch a single bit of that. I was watching football, so
it wasn't bad. I mean, it was a pretty solid game. I mean, you know, they. Vic says, "Hi, Rich and Taylor. It's just me, so continue to not pull punches." LOL. Vic,
okay.
We're just about to talk about Joey Wentz a little bit here. But again, like overall, pretty solid game.
Wait,
the
can you
score-
not click on that, or am I the only one that can click on that?
I didn't know you could click on it.
Yeah, like that's how you make it go to the thing.
I don't think it lets me do that.
Oh, haha.
I don't have your admin powers.
No,
That's all right though.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But Vic, thank you for joining us as usual.
Yep.
We're just discussing game 1 of the National Series where the Pirates did in fact.
Yeah, you missed the soapbox moment. My God, you're gonna want to listen to the last 10 minutes of my diatribe.
Vic probably would have enjoyed it. He's not a Shelton fan, neither am I. You are there, but we just didn't. I would love to see Shelton get torched, but with a lot better question than what he got asked. So that's where.
Yeah.
But yeah, game 1, the score was closer than it indicated. They were actually up by more, I believe, and then they brought Joey Wentz in. He did Joey Wentz things.
Yeah, I seen he shit his pants there.
Right. So that's my question for you: is what are your thoughts on Joey Wentz, my friend? I'm all for the.
You know what? We said the same thing about Heller. We'll see. So shoot at the wall, see if it sticks. Throw him out there. We're at the point where this is where you're able to throw guys out to see what they do. We can't be hypocrites here. We were ready to crucify Ben Heller.
Oh, poor Ben.
And same with Santana. And they both turned it around drastically. So, what was Heller's ERA, like 145?
To be fair, that's because Ben Cherington didn't call someone up for the bullpen, so they just let him out to die. That's
right, but still, like, you can stop the bleeding yourself.
Right.
I understand sometimes you don't have all your stuff, but whatever. You can cauterize that wound there as well. But let him audition, see what he has. He played for Detroit. Detroit's terrible. Who knows? Maybe he'll be something. Maybe he will literally be nothing. That's fine. You got him for nothing.
I wonder if he'll be able to sneak through to get the AAA.
I can't imagine people are really clamoring for probably now a 6 ERA bullpen arm.
I know the Pirates claimed him, which is still.
We're just collecting lefties at this point, just kind of for whatever. It's like Pokemon cards. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't hate it. Look, a lefty arm, hell yeah. Bullpen or starter, you can literally never have enough of those. So and knowing that you gave nothing up, fuck yeah, man. Put them on the bench, or not on the bench, but put them out there, see what happens. We're not going anywhere this year.
Yeah, garbage duty.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, you're essentially an extra September call up. That's what you kind of are. So audition for AAA next year. That's what your job is right now. And if you come in there and kill it, then that's another reclamation project. And it's like, okay, great. Fine by me. What are your thoughts, Bob? What are you thinking? Lefty Brook, you just got lit up, tie game. Yeah, fuck it. It's fine.
What? They already blew it? Oh, it was 3-2. I mean, it's tough because I agree where you're coming from. Like, I want them making claims like this, and I want them taking flyers like this. My issue is he couldn't make it in Detroit, right? And
Beeks couldn't make it in Colorado.
Oh God, Colorado.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like, we can't. Unfortunately, Santana came here with a 6 ERA.
Right.
Now, mind you, his situation was different. AL East, and Beeks coming from that bandbox that is, Colorado. But I don't know. I can't. I don't think the Central is really like Murderer's Row either. So
I just want to see.
I'm done with the AL Central, by the way, not the NL Central. Well, neither one of them are Murderer's Row, to be honest, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I see what they're kind of. Well, the walks are probably a concern, right? Holy hell, he threw 105 innings last year. and they weren't. It was not great. I'll leave it
Yeah.
at that.
What did he end with?
105 innings, 6.9 ERA, 1.68
Nice.
WHIP. The thing about this year is he is K'ing guys a lot more than he was in the past.
What did he end with last year?
So he struck out 98 and 105.
I like it.
This year he struck out 61 and 55. So I kind of see what they're doing
Okay.
here.
Right.
The whiff rate's way up there. The chase rate's way up there. He's K'ing guys at a decent rate. He's walking way.
How many appearances did he have last year, though, in those 105 innings? I'm curious if they extended him or if he was like a one and done guy, because
I'd imagine it looks like he actually started 19. So he was a starter last year. And I guess he got converted, which would make sense as to why. See, that makes a little bit more sense. That's why people are taking flyers, right? It looks like he's getting a lot of whiffs on his off-speed stuff this year. Not so much the fastball. Again, now that I've looked at that, I see where they're kind of going with. The fastball is getting hammered. So if I were them, I'd have him pitch nothing but straight slow shit, right? But
Sure.
I see where they're going with this. The guy's Ks are up. He's kind of reinvented himself. He is getting whiffs on certain pitches. So, all right, let's give it 2 months and see what happens. You're right.
Yeah.
We did crap on Santana. We did crap on.
It literally can't hurt. I mean, if this was May and we were doing this, probably not the best time, but you know,
Uh,
I love whip. Forgot the wife used it, didn't charge the mouse.
so Vic says, I love whip. I think it's a very telling stat. What are your opinions of whip? I like it. I mean, I think it gives a pretty good indicator, obviously how much they're walking guys getting hit.
Right.
I don't think it necessarily shows the complete picture. I think it's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's people that legitimately have years where they just get really unlucky and everything drops and
Right.
of that nature. So I do like it, Vic. I'm not saying it's a bad statistic by any means. It's not the only statistic I look at. I mean, Rich knows I'm very much into the metrics and stuff like that as
Right.
well. I tell you, I operate with fantasy. If a guy's hitting 190 but he's hitting the ball hard, give him a shot, right?
Right.
But I like it. I like to get a little bit more deeper when I look into players and
Yeah.
pitch
There's a
mix
lot of variables
they're working
there.
with.
But especially with the types of umps we have now, too, the type of calls that happen. It's not going to be every night, but God damn it, it almost feels like it. Bad calls, bad blocks, things like that. And yeah, little bloopers that come in, especially as a reliever, and your innings are not going to be high. So, you get, a 3-week period where you were just everything is just dropping that little Freddie Sanchez kind of fillet there, and you got these umps that have this foot aura around the strike zone that they consider a strike. I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. You're the analytical guy. I mean, I'm very big in the numbers too, and other, for other stuff. I very much go the field test. How do you look? Like, how are you? What's your delivery? Are people taking liberties with you? Are you, what's your, what's that? I don't know. I don't want to say aura again, but like, what's that energy you're giving off? You get a bad call, or are you doing, oh man, or are you just like doing like the schemes where I'm like, my dick is bigger than everyone in this house, everywhere. It's the biggest thing ever. He's like, all right, watch this shit. Let me just, yeah, like 104 miles an hour. There you go. Because reasons like that is more telling to me than whip. But it is probably the most telling stat of pitching. ERA, I don't know. I feel like that's.
I kind of take it all into consideration. And I think that's why you and I get along very well, Rich, is because we're very much down the middle with those things. Like, I'm not the kind of guy to be like, oh, ERA and whip. If their ERA is 6 and their whip's 1.5, it doesn't matter because X, Y, and Z, right? Like, I agree with you. Like, I like to see how they look, what their surface stats are. I like to take a deeper dive into like what their metrics look like, their analytics and all that. But I agree with you. Like, I think it's all, I like whip, but I like to look a lot more. The eye tests, metrics, things of that nature. One of my favorite things to do at games is if a pitcher comes in and I like to look at their pitch mix and kind of like guess along the way of like what pitch they're going to go to, or be like, oh, they
That's
should go
fun.
here, things like that. You'll see that at the end of September when we go to the game. But
Nice.
I love doing that stuff where I'm like,
What day
oh,
is that again?
I think it's like the 20. I think it's the last home game of the year we're going to, me and Rich.
Yeah.
So we might have to do something special for that,
No.
a pre-game show or something. So
No.
be on the lookout for that. But overall, one of my favorite things to do is kind of take a deeper dive, right? And it's especially fun live. You see a random pitcher come in and you're like, oh, who the hell is this? His ERA 7. And then you look into him and you're like, oh, holy shit. He's guys that swing and miss a ton, some bad luck, and then you can kind of play
Right.
along.
Like, did he have a Heller outing?
Right.
Like that's,
Right. Jordan Montgomery. When we watched Jordan Montgomery, I was like, he's not good this year because his curveball is usually his best pitch and he can't do shit with it right now. Right. So great question, Vic. I like questions like that. Good discussion. So game 1 we dealt with, right, with the Joey Wentz experiment. Game 2, which was today, right? Another no-hitter, which you mentioned. Through whatever. Rowdy hit a home run. Rowdy at the end, but came up short. De La Cruz hit into a double play, so I'm sure people are going to have the pitchforks out for him. We've talked enough about him. I'm not sure if you watched any of the game today, but
I did.
Dylan Cruz is starting to look like he's going to be legit, which I think a lot of us actually thought that was going to happen, right? I'm not mad about the pick at all. I love Skeens. It was still the right pick, right? But I kind of want to go back and revisit the draft from back then, just because it was one hell of a draft. I personally wanted Cruz the entire way. When they won the draft lottery, it was they're going to get Cruz. This is awesome. I celebrated. Leading up to the draft, I was like, you can't go anything but Cruz. You can't go anything but Cruz. And then when Skeens got mentioned, I was not happy, right? But as I saw him more and more, I was like, all right, Cruz, Skeens, even Langford I was open to, as long as it wasn't a high school player when you had potential generational college talents. I'm just curious, who did you want back then?
You know what? I've never been that. I have no opinion. I don't follow that stuff. I really don't. I don't, and I'm not even embarrassed to mention that. I don't know.
That's okay.
It's just never been my bag. But when you saw tape, I was very much like, how could you not take anybody but Skeens? Like, and I understand we've been hurt before by the starting pitching phenom thing, but he just felt different. So, but once again, like, would we have been wrong either way? No, because they both look like they're going to be something.
Right.
So
that's where I think the Nationals are going to be a problem in the near future, just because of Cruz, Wood, Abrams. I still think Gore could be a hell of a pitcher.
Yeah.
Vic says, go ahead and pull that up because I don't have the admin abilities.
No.
I'm exactly as you were, Taylor. I'm happy now, but was upset not taking a 6 or 7 day a week player. Vic, I was a huge Dylan Cruz fan. Like, I'm talking the second that they won that draft lottery, I was like, they are for sure getting Cruz. This is awesome.
Do you think we would have fucked him up though somehow? Like, we would have messed it up, somehow blew it. I feel like I'm so concerned with us touching anybody anymore that's not a pitcher. Even a pitcher, I'm just like, don't leave him alone. Let him call his own shots.
Well, maybe that's the way they were thinking. You never know. I mean, I don't think they're actively going, oh, we can't develop hitters, right? But,
right.
And there were like, oh, Cruz hasn't hit with wooden bats. And I'm like, for the love of God, like, he's going to be a perennial all-star in my opinion. So is Skeen, so I'm not upset by any means.
Right.
I mean, you have Cruz out in center now, and he's actually doing quite well so far.
Yeah.
So
he's not embarrassed himself, which is, I think, that's all people wanted, except for Greg Brown.
Well, the outfield's pretty set, in my opinion. I mean, left fielder is probably going to be Reynolds again. I think they'll give him one more year. Center.
Okay.
It's my opinion. That's all I'm saying. Is I could see him sticking in left one more year.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get rid of Kutch, so we don't have a choice. I think when Kutch finally hangs it up, they'll let Reynolds go do DH duties.
De La Cruz will be in right, in my opinion. I think they'll give him a long look next year. I think they should too. I don't.
They should absolutely, but with brand new coaching staffs.
I'm glad you said that because that's kind of where I was going. Is I'm having a hard time dumping any of these guys when we have literally.
Well, don't ask Connor Williams. That guy's Mr. Negativity. That dude, like,
there's a lot of
know.
Like De La Cruz. I mean, O'Neill Cruz is already breaking out. We know that part, right? Gonzalez, hell, Hayes with a legitimate hitting coach. I'm not saying he's going to. There's an argument to be made that a lot of these guys, like, you get them a different perspective, a different coach, a different instruction. That it's going to be an intriguing year next year because if they do replace the entire coaching staff, like we think they will,
I'll gladly take that L on Hayes all day. If that's what it was, the hitting coach, I will gladly own it and take my L, no problem at all.
Well, for me, it's like I don't think it's all the hitting coach. Like, again, the players have to hit at the end of the day, right? But Gary mentioned this, like, outside of the cookie cutter, here's what you need to do. They're not getting hands-on approach, and this is all young guys learning how to win and learning how to hit. You need.
What if the whole thing was they just hit off the tees in the basement? That's all their hitting instructions was. Just hit
like, get someone in here who can actually instruct these guys, who's actually going to be hands-on. That's what they need. These are all young guys. Yeah. I mean, you're picking guys off the waiver wire every week. Like, what makes you think you're going to turn them around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you helping or making them regress? And that,
right.
Even more. I think at this point, the only person that's actually progressed is O'Neill Cruz. Everyone else has taken a step back.
Right.
Seems like.
And he's a super.
Or they stayed
otherworldly talent.
Lateral, which,
Joey Bart, but I'm not sure how much credit we can give them for Joey.
No, I think Joey Bart I think he was one of those few players that just really benefited from change of scenery and the confidence of, hey, look, this is your job to take. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. Because I felt like he was on his way out, like he was getting usurped by Bailey over there. So
yeah. The rain delay was brutal.
Oh, the non-rain. The funny thing, do you remember 10 years ago the non-rain delay in Washington?
I think I do, actually, where they like
they called the game because they're like, it's gonna rain, and it never rained. I just think it's funny we had the same fucking thing here.
And here, it's funny, we had a work outing. We actually had the Skull Bar rented out.
Oh, nice.
For work, and they canceled the game. And I live up by Cranberry, and it was pouring there, but it was like they were anticipating rain to start at some point during the game, and then I'm pretty sure nothing started until like towards the end of it. So they probably could have fit in.
Yeah, it didn't do anything till about 9:30.
Right.
In here, and I'm like, that game would have been over.
Right. That was my takeaway
to it. Yeah. And then it ended up raining like all night, but I think that's what they were anticipating to happen during the game. It's like, well, whoopsie doodles.
Right. I mean, I don't get that. Again, I'm not a professional, but like, it's weird. There's games where they start it and they have no business starting it, and there actually is rain coming. There's games like where they cancel it and the rain's 3 hours away. Maybe they have better radars than we do. They did not yesterday. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But a rain cancellation without the rain, which was fun.
Yeah, it's always fun.
My last question for you tonight is: Gonzalez drove in 3 runs that one game. He drove in another. People are really down on him right now, and I get it.
I know Jim was.
I get it. Like, the OPS is sub 700.
I love Nick. His numbers may not be there, but same thing as pitchers. He feels good. He feels like a professional hitter. He feels like he cares. He produces enough for what he is. He's not a left fielder. He's not going to be driving 30, $120. Like, that's not what's going to happen with him. He's going to be a productive middle of the, I don't want to say middle of the lineup, but like, I would be fine with him anywhere from like 2 to 6. Add 5. Anything above that, I don't want you leading off. I don't want you hitting at the end. I feel like your skill set is as such where you can set the table, but you can also clear that bitch too. And for whatever reason, once again, just more unnecessary hatred. But dude, I don't know what you expect of these people.
He has a knack of. I mean, at this point, it's no longer a fluke. Like the guy drives and runs.
Yeah, he's a clutch guy. Yeah,
and it makes you wonder. I mean,
fucking mustache.
The mustache. You know, they're forced to give him better pitches in the zone whenever he's on, things of that nature. Yeah. He's another guy where I absolutely would be okay with him starting at second. You got to give him more time than what you him number one. Number two, get him some real instruction. It's obvious he can drive runs in. It's obvious he can hit the ball if it's in the zone, right? Like this isn't something where he's swinging through fastballs right down the middle like we've had with some people, Jack Sawinski.
No.
You get the point. Like I agree with you wholeheartedly. I also love Nick Gonzalez. I'm not ready to give up on him. No. He's someone I'm open till starting because again, he's shown he can carry this team driving in runs. He can energize this team. Right. He has those down stretches, but you got to give him more time. He's definitely
a baseball player. Like that's gonna happen, but his down stretches are not long. They're not long, and they're still relatively productive. Right. Like he's not getting the golden sombrero. You know, he's, he grounded out twice, flied out once, struck out once. Okay, fair enough.
He's not hitting for power. And that's weird because when he first came up, he was.
Yeah.
And that's what's concerning to me is I brought this up like a month ago.
Yeah.
Why is it that everyone comes to the major league team here and they suddenly just don't hit for power?
Better pitching.
I mean, I agree. I agree with that, right? But like I'm talking like players who like in other teams are hitting for power. So like De La Cruz was hitting almost 20 home runs.
Yeah, that's weird.
Suddenly can't hit anything out of the park. Michael A. Taylor hit 22 last year.
It's Haynes. He's a huge part of that. He's a huge part of it because I would really love to know what exactly that daily regimen is. Like what, by comparison, what De La Cruz was doing to what he's doing now.
Right.
Because his numbers were not what they look like. Like what he looks like now is Jack.
Right. And it's happening with a lot of guys. It's not like it's one or two now at this point. Like we're talking, there's a long list of people that came in here who have hit for power, whether it's throughout the system, whether it's with other teams that just don't do it here. Is it the approach? Is it they're not? Who knows? But again, it kind of goes back to I would even have Hayes on this list. I would. The Hayes, De La Cruz, Gonzalez, hell, even Davis. Like I'm not ready to dump until I see someone who other than Andy Haynes work with these people. That's where I'm at. I know you don't like Davis. I'm not saying it's gonna be fair. There are so many guys. Vic, Haynes blows, plus I think he blows Shelton. Well, you're probably you're probably teeing Rich up for a good joke. He likes these ones. But I agree, Vic. Like I'm getting to that point where it's happening with too many guys. Like I get the whole argument that the players have to perform, they have to execute. I get that, but it is becoming too much of not a coincidence anymore.
Right, everyone you're bringing in just stops being able to hit for any juice. It's a little weird.
Right. Very much. Whew. That's the good thing is we have an interesting offseason to look forward to.
Yeah,
we have an interesting team next year to look forward to as well, which is different from past years where it was maybe. And
right.
So,
right. We're, very accustomed to just being like, I guess we're not going to do much.
Right.
But, well, that wraps up that there. We're out of topics there, right?
Yes, that was the last one.
How?
Let me look here.
While you're doing that, so Vic,
4-4,
4-4, whatever. We're not losing. Let's see here. Thanks, man.
I appreciate that, Vic.
Vic, I'm doing football in about 15 minutes here. at 9:30. There's a link up. I threw up on Twitter there, so you're more than welcome to pop in there with me and Jermaine. We were talking about at the beginning, me, Jermaine, and this fella are gonna start getting together on that show, but you know, Taylor has kids and he likes them. He's an idiot. Thanks, man.
Thank you very
That's
much.
really
Vic.
nice.
We appreciate your support. We will always make sure we're interacting with you when you're on the show, just because we know you. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you know, the kind words, and we appreciate your involvement as well.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing, man, is the fact that you do that. And I don't know if you heard or anything here, but I mean, we cover a bunch of stuff, and I don't know if you've taken a look at that whole Patreon thing that we mentioned here in the beginning, but that's where you can kind of ask us literally anything you want. So, like, if the drapes match the curtains, I don't know. But if you're interested, yeah, like the $5 gets you the discount on merch when we drop that, plus the unlimited questions on there. So yeah, we end up doing that show the last Friday of the month. So I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna take a 15-minute break. Me, Taylor, and Jermaine are gonna get together for some business stuff here, and because I gotta record football here. You're cool with sticking around for 15 here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, appreciate it, Vic. Take a look. If you want to take a gander at the Patreon thing, it's right at the bottom, right? The below my yellow name. What fun button do I have? Let me see here. Let's end with this. All right. Toodaloo, folks.
Toodaloo.